legacy. Dad played football here. Mom on the track and field squad. And they are ready to see Greg Brown begin his own Texas legacy. Jericho Sims wins the tip. Matt Coleman, 4th season running the point for the Longhorns. He's out there with Courtney Ramey. Again, no Andrew Jones, held out for precautionary reasons. Early turnover. Here come the Vaqueros. And the shot affected by Greg Brown and brought down by Matt Coleman. What are you looking for early here, Lance?
Well, I want to see how quickly Texas gets on the attack. Do they use their length, their height, and their size to overwhelm this Rio Grande Valley ball club?
So Shaka Smart believes he has 6 players that are deserving of a starting spot. Andrew Jones made the decision easier for him to go with his starting 5. Brown, Jones, and Sims in the front court. Ramey turns the corner, taking on the entire Vaqueros defense, and draws a whistle.
Well, you mentioned the lineup change to start the season here, and I'm not so sure how you can call it a lineup change since they don't have games in the books yet. But this is something that Coach Smart will have to play with in terms of different lineups that he uses with all the depth that he has. He can play big, he can play small, he can play fast.
Ramey to the line, and the Longhorns on the board for the first time. But he learned a valuable lesson in that torrid streak where they won 5 straight. His job was on the line. A lot of dudes get hurt. He found the power of cutting down the rotation, and we may see more of that this season.
And it's no secret, I talked to Coach Smart about this. I think a shorter bench is better for him. And through history, I've watched his teams and the way they played. And whenever their back is against the wall, they come up big.
For the Vaqueros, the man with the basketball now, number 14, Javon Levi, is a guy that will make them go. They lost their top 2 scorers from a team that won 8 of their last 10 games last season. But Levi is the straw that stirs the drink. That one no good. And Greg Brown bringing it down for the Horns.
And this is the end where Levi.
Sims with the rebound after the Brown miss.
That's where Levi gets it done, his defense.
Ramey's got the first 5 points for the Longhorns.
That's big for Ramey. They'll need his shooting this year, especially with Febris still nursing that injury and coming back from that surgery on the knee.
Here's Levi, Coleman guarding him. Into the paint, the kick out. No good from Uche Debiamaka. Brown from the corner to Sims. Sims out of control, offensive foul. Lou Hill, 5th season as a head coach of the Vaqueros. He knows this Texas program well, longtime assistant coach at Oklahoma, at Texas A&M. Coached for a long time under Lon Kruger with the Sooners and at UNLV. Coleman tries to steal the inbound. Levi recovers.
And Coach Hill talked about coming in here and playing. He said they were not going to be scared at all. I mean, he had a motto, fear none and respect all. So I look for them to attack. And again, that's why it's going to be important for Texas to not let them gain any confidence.
Quentin Johnson bricking the 3. Greg Brown very active on that defensive possession. Lou Hill wants quicker shots. Knows there will be issues the longer possessions go against this Texas defensive length. Levi inside. Kai Jones there, but it's scooped up, and Chris Freeman gets the Vaqueros on the board.
Well, and that's an example of what Coach Hill is talking about, putting pressure on Texas to rotate and get themselves in the right position defensively.
Well, it looks like Brown stepped on the line. Shaka Smart, hard to believe this is season number 6 as a head coach of the Texas Longhorns. We see the towel over the shoulder, both him and Lou Hill. That is to honor the late, great John Thompson, legendary coach of the Georgetown Hoyas. But Shaka's smart. From our conversations, it really seems like he has opened himself up to change.
And part of that change is potentially letting guys play a little longer here. 3 minutes, guys get to gain a little bit of a rhythm.
Jared Liddell and Brock Cunningham now check in. So still a somewhat early substitution for Shaka Smart. Late shot clock. Freeman contested by Ramey. And it's Texas basketball. That is not the possession that Lou Hill is looking for.
Yeah, they couldn't get a shot there, and I thought that was Texas's defense. Just did a good job staying in front of people, doing the opposite of what Coach Hill wanted, which is forcing shots late in the shot clock.
Now, conventional wisdom is to say this is Matt Coleman's team. But Courtney Ramey has stated his case as a guy that could take over. They played better down the stretch with Ramey handling and facilitating a lot of the offense.
And I think it's the guards team. I mean, you got to throw Jones in there as well.
Yeah.
Low, simply because I've been watching him in practice, and obviously he can score the ball, but now he's making the right play and looking for to get other people involved. He's not only scoring for himself or creating offense for himself, but he's doing the same thing for others.
Coleman fouls Levi. So Javon Levi, back-to-back WAC Defensive Player of the Year, goes to the line. Hits the first. And that's a great point about Andrew Jones, because he looks more complete as a physical player as well. The weight continues to be added on, and it looks like an explosiveness coming off hip surgery that is there that hasn't been there prior.
Oh yeah, and last year he was just getting himself back and getting in condition. I mean, he got better as the season went on. And I mean, this year, looking at him in practice, he is a complete player, not only physically, but mentally. He's all there. Fun player to watch.
Looking for Cunningham. Kicks it out to Liddell. Liddell for three. Got it. And there's a player that Texas missed last season. Had a stress fracture in his back in late January. Missed the rest of the season. And, of course, it's Brock Cunningham getting down and doing the dirty work. So far, Courtney Ramey pacing the Longhorns. The 7-4 lead.
College basketball on Longhorn Network is presented by Coors Light, official sponsor of the Texas Longhorns, and in part by St. David's Healthcare. The best is here.
I'm feeling good. So good. I just thought you should know.
Hey, listen up. You see this house? This is Earl's house. This is Ricky's house. This is Colt McCoy and Vince Young's house. This is our house. That other team, not their house. This is the best house. The best is here. Let's bring down the house.
Come home to Kissing Tree, a hill country paradise carved into the Texas foothills. You'll enjoy resort-style amenities in this 55-plus community. Golf, pickleball, hiking trails, a beer garden, and our newest additions, a 2-story fitness center, indoor lap pool, and infinity resort pool. There are 18 beautiful home styles with a variety of price ranges to let you live life on your own terms. Visit kissingtree.com and plan your tour today.
Each year, Americans waste $21 billion by overpaying on car insurance. That's why I went to thezebra.com. Because while every company claims to save you money on car insurance, the Zebra shows you who actually can.
Compare car insurance for free at thezebra.com today.
Every day, we're told, stay apart. But what if that's only a part of the story? What if the whole story is to stay a part of Hill Country? Stay a part of the game. Stay a part of the Longhorns. Stay a part of Austin. Whatever you're a part of, stay that way.
She came to UT from Little Matador, Texas. She left determined to shed light on all corners of the globe.
In journalism, there is such a thing as truth. It's our job to seek it.
In 32 years at the Wall Street Journal, she became an expert on the Middle East and earned a Pulitzer Prize. She was promoted to president of Dow Jones International in 1995 and then publisher of the journal before retiring and writing about her incredible journey. Karen Elliott House. She's a Longhorn legend.
What a remarkable turnaround by this team a season ago. They get blown out by Iowa State in mid-February. And it looks like Shaka's coaching for his job. They turn it around, winning 5 of their last 6 games. Joe Lunardi has them projected last 4 in. And then the season's wiped out, but Matt Coleman, while it was going, 3rd-team All-Big 12, and Andrew Jones had his final leukemia treatment in September and ended up being one of the top scorers and playmakers for this Texas team. In fact, led the team with 17 points per game in that 5-game winning streak. But we had a lot of questions about the direction of this team, direction of this program, and they answered a lot of them in the way they played down the stretch.
Yeah, I thought that stretch that you just mentioned was Shaka's finest moment in his tenure here so far at the University of Texas. And everyone had just about thought that Texas would cash the season in. And, you know, when their backs were against the wall, it was a thing of beauty to watch.
An unfortunate end to the season as they got word that the Big 12 tournament, the rest of the NCAA season, had been wiped out as they were warming up pregame to take on Texas Tech. That shot is off the mark. Kai Jones wants to run, controls it, and 1 for Kai Jones.
I hope we see that again. That's what Kai does as well, if not better than just about anyone in the country. He runs the floor. Look at the catch at that size. The one dribble, takes the hit and finishes. That's high-level skill, folks. The ability to do that at that size, run that fast, catch the ball, and finish. A little reminiscent of Jackson Hayes, Lowell.
Well, you mentioned the bigs that Shaka Smart has recruited are all uber athletic, from Jackson Hayes to Mo Bamba, Jared Allen as well. They can all run the court. Coleman tries to pickpocket it. Pass into the paint. Jones with this stuff. Cunningham brings it up. Kai Jones, look out! Back with a vengeance to start this sophomore season.
This is the one guy I've noticed in practice who has been able to really exploit his athleticism against the competition, Lowell. There you see the long reach there, shuts things down, and then look, takes off to the other end. Again, I said it once, I'll say it again, reminiscent of Jackson Hayes making plays on either end of the floor. Lowell, reminds me a little bit of you in our old pickup games.
I would have tomahawked it. That's the only difference, I would say. Sky's the limit with Kai Jones.
Yeah, it is. And, I mean, he really has shown himself to improve a lot over last year because he's able to do what he does well in game situations. You know, as guys get older, things slow down to him, or I should even say in competition. I've seen him do that in practice, but as a coach, you always want to see if a guy can transfer it over to the floor. Kai showing that early with no signs of nervousness.
Got in a lot of work during the COVID shutdown, actually in Florida. It's where he played when he first moved over from the Bahamas and wasn't able to go back home because of COVID restrictions, so made the most out of his time in Florida and has certainly improved his game. Hounding defense by Jericho Sims as he checks back in. 5 on the shot clock. Who wants it? Someone's going to have to put it up. 1 on the shot clock. Shot clock violation as Laquan Butler did not get it off in time.
Yeah, and as you know, Shaka, early in the season for Texas in past years, they've struggled with teams that you thought they may have an easy time with on the floor. Looking at things right now, with Levi being off the floor, this is a huge opportunity for Texas to take control of this game and really make their mark.
Liddell strong to the hoop, no good. A Vaqueros player is down. And that is Rob McClain Jr., the senior out of Minnesota. So there was contact over on the sideline. McClain immediately went down, play continued, and he stayed there. So the collision with Liddell, and it looks like he comes down hard on his chin, and inadvertently the left elbow of Liddell also comes down onto his neck. But yeah, that's it. I mean, his face hits the court hard.
Yeah, that was a pretty violent fall. You have to appreciate the effort.
This is a deep UT Rio Grande Valley team as well. They lost their 2 leading scorers from a season ago, but actually are the only team in D1 to not have a freshman on the roster. So they were able to keep most of their team intact. That, like Texas, finished last season very strong.
Yeah, and had similar disappointment as Texas did with the second seed in the WAC and their season ending, unfortunately, just before they were able to get some tournament games in.
Butler no good on the 3. Here's Liddell. He's been good coming off the bench. Liddell for 3. Leaves it short. Cunningham tried to keep it alive. Doc Nelson running for the Vaqueros. Rebound. But a whistle before the shot as Sean Ray was trying to put it up.
Texas guards can get away with gambling on the perimeter and sometimes even playing poor defense and not moving their feet because of what they have on the back line in terms of length. Kai Jones, Sims, Brown, these guys make it very difficult to finish. Wish we had a little ticker there at the bottom of the screen that count layups. That's going to be a difficult task for Rio Grande Valley today to be able to finish at the rim with the lineup like Texas has.
Ray down low. Cannot get it to drop. Nothing is easy, to your point, around the rim.
You just got to be able to pump and get guys in the air and try to get to the line because you're not going to be able to finish over that Texas length.
Coleman to the Big 12 logo. To Greg Brown, another deep attempt. Rims out. Of course, Brock Cunningham keeps it alive. And Brown hard to the hoop. No. Second attempt is good. And Greg Brown with the first points of his Texas career. There will be many more.
You got to love the multiple effort play there by Brown.
Chris Freeman with the air ball. And Jericho Sims contested, but there was contact.
The young fella really did a good job there of attacking the rim. I thought maybe he should keep both hands on the ball. But that kind of athleticism and second effort is just difficult to contend with.
And that's the scouting report that we got on him coming out of Vandergrift High School. Attacks the rim with violence. And violence has been a big key word in the way that Shaka Smart wants his team to play this season.
Yeah, and what violence means is aggressive, a certain level of passion and energy in the way that you play. And that's something also that Brown will have to learn to adjust to because, yeah, you can attack the rim, but at this level, It's not going to be like high school. You have other guys that can jump, and teams will play you for that. So you've got to develop a little bit of a mid-range game or game where you can stop and make a play for someone else or knock down shots so you're not running over people like they're bowling pins.
Vaqueros ice cold from the 4. 1 of 14.
And there's that gamble.
Javon Levi, corner 3 right before the shot clock expired. No. But Connor Raines gets it back. Freeman from deep. No. Raines again. And it's a travel call.
Well, Raines had the right idea with the pump fake. He's just got to get both feet set before he picks the ball up. But that's about the only way I think you're going to be able to finish around this Texas ball club. They're just too long and athletic to get easy baskets, even in offensive rebound situations like you saw there.
Donovan Williams checks in, still not 100% after offseason knee surgery. Brock Cunningham, offensive rebound. Greg Brown leaves it long. And 2 possessions now, we've seen the value of Brock Cunningham. We'll talk about him and his importance to this Texas team as we progress, as it's all Longhorns in the season opener 17-4.
2020 sure has been a nutty year, but this holiday season, there's one thing we can all agree on. Nuts.com offers the world's best range of incredible nuts, dried fruits, snacks, sweets, and gluten-free treats. All perfect for sharing when family and friends gather or sending as gifts when you can't be together. Enjoy the delicious quality, enjoy the sensational freshness, and enjoy free shipping with your first order. End this nutty year with nutterly yummy holiday treats from Nuts.com. You, your family, and friends deserve it.
2020 has been the year of the unthinkable, and millions of Americans are struggling to put food on the table. So Wells Fargo is helping our neighbors feed their loved ones, using some of our locations as drive-up food banks, and helping provide 50 million meals for Americans in need. The unthinkable has happened. Now it's time to rethink how to make a difference. Wells Fargo.
She said she wasn't hungry. She only wanted a bite. But this isn't just a patty melt. This is a Whataburger patty melt, the all-time favorite, with 2 all-beef patties, Monterey Jack, grilled onions, and creamy pepper sauce. So 1 bite became 2, and 2 became mine. Just a bite, huh? Good thing she's your other all-time favorite. Good thing there's the patty melt at Whataburger.
Max is a wild one. He's a very happy baby, for sure. So when we got the news that it was cancer, we were so scared. You're afraid. You don't know what to think. You've never been through this. As soon as we walked through the doors, we were just greeted with this sense of reassurance. We're no longer afraid. We have a team behind us that's going to take care of him. If anyone is going through this process, this is the place to be.
Get the care you need at getdelchildrenscare.com.
For the win. Here we go. 3. God! He got it! Oh my goodness!
Texas sports live on Longhorn Network. Hook 'em.
For me, to be a Texas Longhorn means tradition. You're always pushed by the people that have played before, and I felt that push the whole time I was here.
You're watching Longhorn Network. Hook 'em.
And moments ago, this was Rob McClain Jr. headed to the locker room. We saw him take a tough spill with a collision with Gerald Liddell, hit his face on the court. So we're hoping everything is as okay as it can be with Rob McClain. There's Brock Cunningham, who has found his niche with this team. Kept a couple of possessions alive that led to points. This is what Texas needs him to do.
Yeah, he's one of my favorite players. He's like connective tissue in the body, if you will. He holds things together. And also, what doesn't show up in that graphic is he makes winning plays, and the style of play and unselfishness that he has, Lowell, it impacts W's for this Texas team.
Inside, Sean Ray contested. 10 on the shot clock. 3 ball rims out. From Malik Lawrence Sanderson, goes back up. Well, back to the point with Brock Cunningham. I mean, the numbers don't overwhelm you, but when Shaka Smart talks about the top 6, right, his 3 guards, his 3 forwards, he also points out that number 7 would be Brock Cunningham.
Yeah, and before I get to that, there's one of those pump fakes that I was talking about that Rio Grande needs to employ if they want to either get to the line, get some easy baskets, or get some finishes around the bucket. You simply are not going to be able to go through or over this Texas team. They're too long and athletic around the rim. But to your point with Brock Cunningham, Law, I just love his energy level. He always brings it, and you know what you're going to get from a coaching perspective. So I know Shaka complains about me complaining about what the coach should expect or not. But with this young man, it's a gift to know, hey, he's going to go on the floor, and I know he's going to impact the game. He can guard multiple positions, plays extremely hard. And the last thing I'll say, Law, and I'll get off my soapbox, is he seems to accept his role.
Well, it's taken a little while for him to find that role, like Royce Ham, who's at the line, as Sean Ray picked up foul number 3. Y'all remember some of the coaches saying that Royce Ham had to stop trying to be like Kevin Durant and start embracing being a junkyard dog, like Brock Cunningham. But it took Royce Ham a little while in his career, probably not to the point where it was a lost cause, but to really find out how he fit in with this team.
Well, yeah, and that's not so much of a Royce Ham issue, Law, is it? That's a human condition that people often want to be something they're not. And there's only one Kevin Durant, and there's only one Royce Ham. And Royce has, as you mentioned, some junkyard dog in him. As he flicks his finger like the shooter he wants to be. Of course, he missed the free throw, but that young man there, Kevin Durant, obviously one of the best, certainly the best to play here, but one of the best to ever play the game and in this generation. But you have to take the gifts that you have and employ them to the game and build around those. Maybe you can take a thing or two from Kevin, but there's no way I'd put Kevin and Ham in the same sentence if we're talking about style of play and
that's
impact
what Ham
on the
needs
game.
to do right there, elevate for the rebound. Donovan Williams picked up his 2nd foul. Vaqueros in the bonus. Levi hit the front end of a one-on-one, and then Coleman leaves it short. Greg Brown was trying to get his first real highlight. Here comes Ray. And nothing is going right for the Vaqueros offense, but that is the defensive stalwart. Levi, pickpocket, Freeman, 3, finally dropping for the Vaqueros. Now 1-7 from 3-point range.
Well, and Freeman's one of the staples for this ball club, and they need Levi, Freeman, their main guys, to give them something if they want to stay close enough and be in this game and not get run out of the gym.
Yeah, only down 9. Check that, 12 with Donovan Williams knocking it down.
Well, that's the big differentiator for this Texas ball club. If and when they can make shots, and they don't have Jace Febres right now, their best shooter, Low, but they're making shots they can play with or just about beat anyone in the country.
Well, nice move by Levi. Back into the paint. No good from Jamal Gaines. Into the hands of Freeman.
Gaines has got to finish that over Courtney. He's got the size difference.
Levi loses the handle. Will stay with the Vaqueros. And you bring up Jace Febres, had a season-ending knee issue last season. Required microfracture surgery, still out. And really no telling when he's going to be back. Shaka did hope to have Febres back for the start of the season. I've also pointed out, with the nature of the microfracture surgery, it's not a set timetable. It can be different depending on the athlete. Freeman gets it to fall.
Well, and I'm patting myself on the back. There you go. Freeman gets to the rim, pump fake. Ham jumps, leaving space there for a nice finish at the rim.
Coleman sees wide open space on the court, attacks it, and draws the foul. Let's go back to that bucket by Freeman.
Yeah, you're not going to finish over Ham, so you just show him the ball. And Ham is the one guy that is often not as disciplined as you would hope, and just use his length and body and put his arms up there. If you're doing your scouting well, Rio Grande, you know that.
Coleman hits the first. Told you off the top the news with Andrew Jones. Woke up with a cough this morning, sitting out this game as a precaution. Texas players and staff members getting tested for COVID-19 3 times a week. Jones was tested yesterday, came back negative. Practiced with the team. But this is going to be one of those seasons where depth is the key. Texas certainly has it. Levi contested. Ham was there. Ham gets it back. Coleman, pull up, drops it. What does Coleman need to do now as a senior to get this team where it wants to go?
Well, I think Coleman's success has to be measured by how other guys are playing. I mean, he certainly has people on this team that are longer, bigger, stronger, but he's got to be the brains behind the operation with all of his experience.
Liddell, here we go. Kai Jones, yes, sir. Defense into offense, making it look real easy is Kai Jones.
Well, and that's virtually impossible to stop when you've got that kind of length coming at you from both of those guys. How about the unselfish play by Liddell? Just throw it up and let the big fella go get it and finish. Kai guarding the guard there.
Into the hands of Ham, no good by Levi.
And look who's leading. Oh, wow. I mean, Jones contests the shot. He's the first man down the floor.
And when you got a guy with that length and athleticism, why not throw it up and take a chance with Kai Jones?
My name is Gloria Reyna, and we're in Austin, Texas. We're at Matt's El Rancho restaurant. Our first restaurant started in 1952. It was started by my mother. She was an incredible cook. She created the majority of the dishes that are on our menu even currently today after 65 years. All you have to do is cook like you're cooking at home and everything will be fine.
Matt's El Rancho, always good.
It's game day. You know we came here for the dub. It's game day. So if you with us, throw it up. It's game day.
You can catch me in the winner's circle often. Couple trophies in the audience applauding. Who's that new girl in the game show stopping? Topped in the back of a jersey, say poppin'.
We ready for the lights, the camera, and the action. We came here for a victory and we want satisfaction. This one for the crowd and the fans. So bring out the band. We got to win it any way that we can. So come on.
Frontera is the most advanced and the largest academic supercomputer in the world today.
Frontera is funded by the National Science Foundation. It's the result of a big competition among universities around the country. We came out on top in that competition, and so we'll be serving the community here at the University of Texas and at universities all around the country.
There are 8,000 servers in this system, 448,448 processors.
We have enough processor cores in that to do something that like an average laptop processor we could do in a day what those could do in maybe 10,000 years.
This system was created to solve the greatest challenges to the U.S. research community. We're doing things with astronomers who are looking at the origins of the universe and star formation. We're also looking at gravitational waves. We're working in health sciences quite a bit as well. Neuroscience, a lot of brain research these days. We're also seeing a lot of work in natural hazards, something very important and that's hit a lot of people over the last few years.
Frontera will really help change the world by letting scientists run problems that they haven't been able to run previously. We're really trying to push the boundaries of science solve today's problems for tomorrow. What starts here changes the world.
Welcome back to the Irwin Center, where Kai Jones is putting on a running and dunking expedition here in his first game of the season. He has all but taken over things offensively and defensively, making plays on either end of the floor. He's almost like a magician, because every time you look up, he's in the play, regardless of where the action is, Lowell.
High percentage shots, nothing wrong with that, as he is perfect from the field. 9 points. Keep in mind his season average last season as a freshman was about 3.5. So a big jump expected from him going from that freshman to sophomore year.
And because he runs the floor so well, he can get at least 2 or 3 dunks per night. And again,
that's that.
Altering shots on the defensive end as well.
That was to be Amaka on the drive. Jones the drive, Cunningham the kick out, passes it up. Good defense by Quentin Johnson to force it out. Tag pass by Levi. Here's Cunningham to Ramey. He's running with Jones. Hey, we could have predicted that.
Yeah, you saw, I mean, and it looks easy on TV, I get it. But this young man, he is literally almost like Usain Bolt on the floor. I mean, to change ends that quick, Lowell, and be at the rim that easy.
You got to be willing to run.
Yes, you do. And you've got to, not only you got to be willing, Lowell, you've got to have the ability and skill set to go with the willing.
Well, that was present day one with Kai Jones. The consistent motor is where Shaka Smart says he's developed the most.
Yeah, and he's showing that tonight. I mean, he's not the only great athlete on this team. There are other guys, but I think he's the one who's done the best job of exploiting it in game situations like this and in play. So the jump that Shaka has helped this young man make here in his debut is quite impressive.
Greg Brown to the bench with 2 fouls. That sends Quentin Johnson to the line. Johnson gets both. The Vaqueros just trying to hang around. Longhorns not really letting them do that. Just 3 of 23 from the field. Ramey, no good on the outside shot.
One of the other things that I'm liking about this roster and team, they're aggressive early in the shot clock. Well, we've seen the offense get stagnant at times last year, where a lot of passing and you're not knowing what they're trying to get out of different things. But attacking on the offensive end can be a big part of your offense, and we're seeing that early here with this Texas ball club.
Well, especially without Febres, and even when Febres was available, it's not like he was a consistent outside threat. He was streaky. I mean, go where your strength is. They don't necessarily have those guys that in the half court can consistently hit that outside shot.
Yeah, exactly. But the way that you negate that is by playing fast. And you move the ball and you find people. So, you know, Texas will have to prove they can shoot the ball, of course, at some point. But I think they can mitigate some of those issues by using their length and playing fast.
Shaka Smart says Andrew Jones, who is out for this game, is by far the best scorer on the team. There's Cunningham, had more time on the shot clock. And it looks like he realized as Kai Jones was called for the foul. Number 1 on Kai Jones.
I mean, this team, Shaka, the sky is the limit. And I think these early games like this, you set a bar for yourself, or a floor, if you will. And we talked about it a moment ago, where in years past these games were a little bit difficult in terms of expectations or flow, or whatever the case may be. But seeing
get flat out beat by teams that shouldn't come here and beat them.
Yeah, getting beat or winning at the buzzer, or needing luck. So I think this is part of the maturation of what Shaka has brought here to this program with this talent.
Cunningham inside, nice feed. Jones wanted to throw it down. It is rejected.
Well, that was a great no call by the official.
Johnson, too strong.
Yeah, I thought it was a great no call because a lot of times officials will predict what they think is going to happen. And this particular play, they let the athleticism do what it does, and the defense goes straight up there. All ball.
That was Malik Lawrence Anderson making his debut for the Vaqueros after transferring from Tyler Junior College. Ty Jones goes to the bench, getting some words of wisdom from his head coach, Shaka Smart. Cunningham to the line.
Yeah, you mentioned the transfer. Coach Hill talked about it with us. I mean, that's one of the places where their bread will be buttered, which is the defensive end. They've got a lot of guys that can play. Even Javon Levi, their best player, as much as they need him offensively, it's his defense that really leads the way for Rio Grande.
They were 8th nationally last season, forcing 17.5 turnovers per game. So Lou Hill, this team will get after it defensively. Is outmatched in the early going here as Johnson is fouled by Brock Cunningham. See those defensive ranks? That's the bread and butter of this UT Rio Grande Valley team. Picked to finish 3rd in the WAC preseason poll. That's the highest they've ever been picked in the preseason poll after earning the 2 seed in the WAC tournament that they did not get to play. And that was the highest seed they've ever earned. Here's Johnson. Short on the free throw.
And you mentioned the way and I love Coach Hill's energy and his confidence. I mean, he's extremely confident about what he believes this team can do.
And they add Jeff O'Cherry, former American East Defensive Player of the Year from Stony Brook. So Vaqueros are also the only team in America to have multiple players that have won a conference Defensive Player of the Year award.
Yeah, they're extremely proud of that, and I don't blame them. They should be. They should use that to their advantage.
Liddell has shown a nice stroke from outside. He's looking for consistency. Remember, he had that fantastic game against Purdue. That one's knocked down by the Biamaka. Had that great game against Purdue and then was not really a factor from then on out. Now, game number 2.
I thought Liddell grew up in the NIT. I thought those minutes were huge for him, and I thought he would come back with a little bit more last season.
Matt Coleman for 3. And as you pointed out multiple times, winning the NIT, the ultimate goal in college basketball, beyond making it to the NCAA tournament, in your words.
Yeah, well, you perverted my language a little bit, but I will tell you to go look at your history book and you'll have a little more appreciation for the NIT and what it has meant to college basketball through the years. And a championship is a championship in spite of you saying you didn't think it should count or matter.
Quentin Johnson rattles home the 3. The hand in his face. Now we're back in midseason form, Lance. Let's go. Jericho Sims under the bucket. Here comes Levi. Into the hands of Liddell. Out of control transition offense there by the Vaqueros. Coleman wants another one. Can't get it.
Well, how does Texas hold up against this kind of pace? They've got to stay well calibrated. And one of the areas that I thought, looking at Texas in practice, sometimes they looked a little more winded than I would think. Guys with this type of athleticism would be necessarily. So it'll be interesting to see how this pace impacts them.
No summer 5-on-5. That affects conditioning for everybody. Perhaps both teams sucking wind early.
A football scholarship brought him to Austin in 1934. As team captain, he commanded the Longhorns to a stunning victory over undefeated Baylor, lighting the Tower orange for the very first time. He earned his business degree and thrived at Procter & Gamble, eventually amassing a fortune, creating his own businesses. Then came his proudest achievement, the Terry Foundation, which has invested more than $100 million in scholarships for students across Texas. Howard Terry, he's a Longhorn legend.
This isn't just furniture. This is where you'll catch your breath and watch your favorite movies. This is where you'll host dinner parties and celebrate moments, big and small. It's your refuge after a long day. This is where your life unfolds. Tell your story with the Magnolia Home Collection.
Hey, listen up. You see this house? This is Earl's house. This is Ricky's house. This is Colt McCoy and Vince Young's house. This is our house. That other team, not their house. This is the best house. The best is here. Let's bring down the house.
This fall, where are savvy snackers and brilliant bakers finding the world's most delicious nuts, dried fruits, organic snacks, and gluten-free treats? Nuts.com, of course. There's something for everyone to love, including free shipping with your first order. Try the glazed red cherries.
Love these in my fruitcake.
Organic dried mangoes.
Best mango under the sun.
Dark chocolate-covered almonds.
Totally delish.
Or Georgia pecans.
Most tender pecans outside a farm stand in Georgia.
Stock up with free shipping for fall season family gatherings at nuts.com.
For the win. Here we go. Three. God! God! Got it! Oh my goodness!
This is home because my family knows this area more than everybody because my mom went here, dad went here, uncle went here. And so I just felt it was a great decision to stay home. I feel like this is a great coaching staff because they know how to produce NBA players and they know what it takes. My relationship with Coach Smart is really good. We call each other every day, check in, and we talk about stuff beyond basketball, more so life. He's supposed to make sure I'm doing the right stuff on and off the court so I can be a great man and a great basketball player. What I'm most looking forward to is just winning Big 12, hopefully winning NCAA championship, and making great connections with my teammates and my classmates. I'm Greg Brown, Austin, Texas. Hook 'em.
Freshman from Vandergrift High School here in Austin, 2 points in 7 minutes, and very vocal during the recruiting process, especially when it started to get a little dicey with Shaka Smart's future, that he was not entertaining coming to the University of Texas if Shaka Smart was not there.
Yeah, and Shaka to me is one of the best coaches in the land, and I'll tell you why. He cares about the human being as much as he does the W's and the winning and all of the stuff you hear about the hype of college basketball. And if I had a son, I would be sending him to play for Coach Smart simply because of his passion for the human being.
Transition three knocked down by Laquan Butler. It's still plenty of fight in this UT Rio Grande Valley team, and it's an 11-point game.
And anytime you can get baskets without your best player, in this case, Levi on the floor, it's a bonus.
And another good defensive play by Johnson keeps it alive. Texas turns it over.
Well, and this is the style that Coach Hill was talking about, just really junking the game up and being extremely aggressive.
Chris Freeman. And the Carrols are now within single digits. A nice run here. And you see a new life with this UT Rio Grande Valley team. Brown to the lane, was pulled. Will not count the basket.
Well, Texas doesn't go put bodies on people. Long shots equal long rebounds, and they pay dearly. Not closing out that possession with a rebound.
Doc Nelson picks up the foul. 1-1 for Greg Brown. Hits the first.
Essentially, Rio Grande Valley has raised their level of intensity, as you mentioned, sped the game up and forced Texas into some tough situations and trying to make plays that weren't there. Now does Texas do the same? They're showing that with a little soft pressure here in the backcourt, slowing them down a bit. But Texas has to match the intensity.
When I asked Shaka what would be a little different with this season, said exactly that. After made baskets, a little more pressing than in years past. An easy look inside and finish by Anthony Breton.
You see, that was happening, meaning Rio Grande Valley was getting drive-bys earlier in the game, Lowell. The difference is the bigs were covering up those mistakes. Looks like Rio Grande Valley, look, you're right on skates, right by Liddell. No one helps to help her. That would have been Brown. You end up with an easy basket.
Brown nearly turned it over. And then misses the floater. Liddell on Butler. The drive in the spin. Liddell got a piece of it.
Much better. Butler there could not get by Liddell. Did a much better job of staying in front of his man.
Nice move by Ramey. Cannot finish. Ham can count it and send him to the line.
That was a nice effort finish by Ham there. Extremely nice crossover there. You've got to take it perhaps one more dribble if you're Ramey to get the ball on the glass. Ham cleans it up and doesn't make the free throw.
Quick three. No good for Butler. Nearly intercepted. Going for Coleman. Liddell collects himself, gathers, fires, and a very good start to the season for Gerald Liddell.
It's all about confidence for this young man. Didn't play a lot when he first got here. Played late, especially into the NIT. Had an up and down year last year and has come out swinging this season. Looks like he's gained his confidence that he had during that NIT run.
Freeman drove right into the traffic and missed the shot. Now Texas can hold for the final shot of the first half. Jones with 11, Liddell with 10. No Andrew Jones, as he is sitting out for precautionary reasons after waking up with a cough this morning. Ramey, 2 on the clock. Will he get it off? He does, and it is good off glass. So the Vaqueros made it interesting late in the first half, but a nice Texas run to go into the break. Kai Jones, perfect. They've thrown it up. Jones has put it down.
Well, yeah, and
smart. They have struggled with these early season matchups against lesser, quote unquote, lesser programs. So there's really a lot that we can take away from this performance from Texas.
Yeah, they're playing in, let's say, not first game of the season form in terms of the intensity and ability to make plays and lack of nerves, potentially maybe with the exception of Brown.
Wow, Kai Jones got a piece of that against Chris Freeman. Freeman goes down hard. So the defense showing out. Now the Vaqueros did get within single digits. They got within 9 late in the first half, but Texas responded with a 7-zip run to close it out, as that is a nice roll to finish for Quentin Johnson. And these are the mid-major home losses under Shaka Smart, UT Arlington, Kent State, Radford, and VCU. And there's been more close calls than just these losses.
Yeah, and that's no slap at these programs, because those are very good teams and teams.
Hello, Greg Brown! Welcome to the big time! Violence! Lance Blanks attack the rim.
And violence at the rim. This young man wants to get to the basket. there got away maybe with a little light hook. But that's a finish. That's a big-time finish.
Did he just get Jorge Bilbao?
No.
Speaking of UT Arlington, Kerwin Roach going over him?
No, the Bilbao was exactly over. That went a little bit of over and through.
Impressive athleticism upside for Greg Brown, making his Texas debut. Extends the lead to 17 for the Horns.
But I want to finish my point. Yep. Well, we were talking about those other teams that Texas had struggled with or won games, the VCUs, the Radfords of the world, UT Arlington. Those were good programs and good teams at the time. It's just a lot of times the branding in the name Texas. You know, you got a target on your back. Everyone circles that game. And perhaps this Texas team is now getting used to having that target on their back.
Good finish for UT Rio Grande Valley. Counter that, though, with this roster for Texas. Under Shaka Smart, I mean, it's ESPN 100 recruits up and down. So, yeah, those are solid teams, but you have upper-end athletes and recruits playing for Shaka Smart. So you would not think that they would struggle consistently against those lesser teams.
Yeah, and
off the knee of Ramey there.
That's a fair point, and the counterpoint to that is sometimes when you were playing in high school, the dynamics are different in terms of the level of talent across the board, the intensity of the games, the school, the different environment, the pressure, the being on TV, having you talking about guys. So it's a totally different environment. And also, I will say to your point of recruiting so many top 100 players, sometimes there's a synergy of competitiveness, not where you're necessarily competing against each other, but where you're competing with each other. And I think there's an element of that coming from Kai tonight. I mean, he knows that he's got some good teammates around him. He's also got a year under his belt, but he's proving that some of those other guys on this roster that are good players are not the only good players or potential NBA players on this Texas ball club.
Looks like a cut on abrasion there with Matt Coleman. He gets that cleaned up, and he's back and ready to go. Also, some of those teams that they lost to, more experienced teams, right? And sometimes experience can offset talent, especially in college basketball. That's where you have this brilliant balance with this roster for Shaka Smart, where you have the upper end talent, but finally you've got veterans up and down the rotation.
Yeah, and I don't want to belabor the point, but I want to speak to that because there's something I've observed with this roster relative to the others of why it's maybe a little more comfortable for this team against ball clubs with so-called lesser talent or lesser name than these UT Longhorns.
Ramey inside the three-point strike. Jericho Sims, offensive rebound. Sims has had a quiet debut as Coleman is tripped up by Javon Levi.
One of the things that we used to talk about, Lowell, with those other rosters leading up to this season, there's often been a guy that maybe wasn't ready but had the projection of being a top pick. The Mo Bambas of the world, the Jarrett Allens of the world. Even Jackson Hayes came on, and those guys.
Good inbound, Coleman to Ramey.
Great pass and finish.
Do you feel pressure that you have to play those guys early?
Well, not necessarily just you're going to play them. I mean, I'm sure that's part of the agreement when you get them to sign here. They're not going to sit on the bench.
But by Debiamaka.
More importantly, not only play them, you're building around them, and that's a little early, I think, for some of those guys.
A strong suit for Jericho Sims. Trying to take it in off the dribble. Debiamaka no good on the three.
A good throw ahead there by Coleman.
Cross court to Coleman. The pull-up J and the lefty drops it.
This team is so unselfish.
So we're talking to Shaka Smart about where this roster stacks up with his teams of the past. You guys both went back to his first year, where he inherited some really good players from Rick Barnes. So you you had Isaiah Taylor, you had Javon Felix, you had Lambert Connor, Cam Ridley, some Lambert Connor, baby.
Yeah.
So you had some really good players. How do you think this roster does compare to that one?
Well, this could be the closest in similarity. And I asked Shaka a similar question to the one you're posing right now. And I mean, it just speaks to Shaka's loyalty. He really didn't want to crown this roster as the best. But the way I would compare it is, since Shaka has been here, from top to bottom, hands down, this is the best roster. I can say it. Coach Smart can't. And the reason is it's not only dynamic, but it's just deep in terms of 8, 9, 10 guys. Your 10th player could start. As we're seeing, the 7th player could start and not miss a beat. I don't think Shaka's had that since he's been here.
Levi forces it up. Connor Raines gets it back up and under and one for Connor Raines. But all the points you make, got to make the NCAA tournament.
Oh, without a question. I'll go on record now. I mean, if they don't make the NCAA tournament, come on. Raines, good job. That's how you've got to finish around the rim with this Texas ball club. You've got to give head fakes and pump fakes and ball fakes in order to get them off their feet. If you're going to have any chance of finishing around the rim.
So important dates this season for the Longhorns. Of course, taking on Villanova. And it's a short non-conference before getting into conference play. And once again, the Big 12 is absolutely loaded. So Texas taking part in the Maui Invitational. Ramey hits that one from deep, which will be hosted in Asheville, North Carolina. So the Horns will leave for North Carolina Saturday morning. Games on Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. I'm sure we'll find out a lot about what this team is made of when they get there.
They're getting into it early in the season.
And a nice drop there by Freeman. Or excuse me, that was Sean Ray. Up to Kai Jones, collects the bucket and the foul.
Okay, let me tell you what's impressive about this, Lowell. The hands. The hands. He caught that, brought it down, and took it right back up to finish. Lowell, take us to a break with these hands, baby.
Oh, that's just the throwdown from Greg Brown.
Does it again. What a finish.
What a play! What a play!
Smooth driving pays off. With Allstate, the safer you drive, the more you save. You've never been in better hands. Allstate. Click or call for a quote today.
If Raising Cane's secret cane sauce was the end zone, no one would ever lose a game. Crispy crinkle-cut fries, touchdown. Buttery Texas toast, touchdown. Hand-battered cooked-to-order chicken fingers, touchdown. Freshly made tea and lemonade, well, you get the point. Go for the win this game day with Cane's. Raising Cane's Chicken Fingers. One love.
2020 sure has been a nutty year, but this holiday season, there's one thing we can all agree on. Nuts.com offers the world's best range of incredible nuts, dried fruits, snacks, sweets, and gluten-free treats. All perfect for sharing when family and friends gather or sending as gifts when you can't be together. Enjoy the delicious quality, enjoy the sensational freshness, and enjoy free shipping with your first order. End this nutty year with nutterly yummy holiday treats from Nuts.com. You, your family, and friends deserve it.
Sam Ellinger, Caden Stearns, and company getting set for Iowa State. We got Texas Game Day presented by St. David's Healthcare starting off 9 a.m. Central Time. Game on ABC, Texas Game Day final. Ho, it's going to be a big one. We see Ellinger and Stearns there. Could be their final games inside DKR, and one of the most important games that they will play in their Texas career. If they beat Iowa State, they are odds-on favorite to go to the Big 12 championship game. If they don't, you see those odds drop to 2%. So win, baby, win, Lance.
Yeah, what's your prediction on all of that? Because you said it could be their last game.
Wow.
DKR, and then...
So what do you want my prediction on?
On both the could be as well as the actual game.
Well, we know it's going to be a close game.
Oh, we do know that.
Oh, it's always a close game with
Okay.
this Texas football team.
Always and never. You got to be careful with that.
But that guy, I believe it is going to be his final game inside DKR, and leads Texas to a win. How about that? Gave away my game prediction already.
I like it. None better than you to give the prediction. You know this team as well as anyone.
Reigns misses that three as Texas now up 58-37. Largest lead of the game. Liddell leaving it for Royce Ham. And he stepped on the line. Texas turnover. But Iowa State, they got themselves a good team. One of the best running backs in America, Breece Hall. Brock Purdy, fantastic quarterback. So you need to watch, Lance.
You kidding? I'm going to be right in front of the television on Friday watching that.
Tip in by Ray.
This is good for Texas to have to face this zone. This is an area where they've struggled historically, having to make shots over a zone.
And why is that? Does that go back to not having consistent shooters?
Oh yeah, it's what you always talk about. I mean, if you're going to have any, especially this team here, because of what we saw in the first half and here early in the second half, their length and ability to run the floor. I mean, that's really, in some cases, your only defense against this Texas team.
Freeman with the turnover there.
Royce Ham looks like he did something to one of his legs.
He's down now, getting checked out. Coleman to Cunningham. Little bully ball. Gets his own miss. And the putback. That's Brock Cunningham for you.
Yes, it is. I mean, I don't even know that Brock jumped to get that. Somehow he wedged his way to create space. He has such a strong lower body.
Greg Brown. Out of control. And with the travel. But this is Brock Cunningham in a nutshell for him.
Oh, yeah, just the lower body strength, Lowell, you see, he uses his body and lower body to create space and get the rebound literally without jumping.
Well, step-through move by Laquan Butler. Is that a solid debut for UT Rio Grande Valley? Coleman loses the handle. Butler by himself and in.
you appreciate how Coach Hill has these guys playing hard the whole game. They're ignoring the score and just playing every single possession.
But there's going to be a teaching point at every step in this game, right? I mean, even though you're up by 17 right now, they'll go back, they'll look at film. And even though he's a senior, Coleman can learn from that.
Yeah, because he's, in that case, trying to possibly do a little more than need be.
And we got a tech on Ramey. Saw he was jawing a little bit with Javon Levi. And you're going to get some of that with Courtney Ramey. I mean, they call him a dog for a reason. But the team certainly follows Courtney Ramey. And when they got hot, Ramey was a big reason why. As Ramey and now Cunningham will go to the bench. So Levi also hit with a foul. Another collision as Coleman goes down. And another collision here. It's Lawrence Anderson called with the block.
Yeah, and Brown was very fortunate there. Wasn't the greatest pass in the world. Brown really wants to drive the ball. Defenses will observe that and adjust to that accordingly. He's got to take and look at what the defense is giving him and exploit it.
Where's he going to be at his best?
Well, I think it's still a little early for determining that. But right now, I think a faster game, a game that's open, because he wants driving lanes to the basket so he can use that length and athletic ability and finish.
Inbound to Brown, using that length and a whistle. And with an empty arena, you're going to pick up some language that may not be typically heard when it's more of a packed house.
Yeah, and that play, Lowell, is an example of what we were talking about just before the ball was inbounded. When Brown caught the ball right around the middle of the lane or just below that point, just go straight up and finish that. He really wants to get close to the rim.
And the tech that we put on Ramey was actually called on Brown. So did not see what went down. So the tech goes to Greg Brown. Javon Levi just has not been able to get it going. He was second nationally in assists per games. And threw that one right to Matt Coleman.
Yeah, and you mentioned that about Levi, and he's a good ball player, a good college ball player on either end of the floor, particularly his defense. And he's been extremely quiet tonight, and that's just a testament to this roster that Coach Smart has recruited here.
And there is Levi from Killeen, top 5 in program history in steals and assists. Back-to-back first-team All-WAC and Defensive Player of the Year. And you see nearly 8 assists per game last season.
Yeah, and he impacts the winning here. And Coach Hill said it best. He said, we go as he goes. And so you can have other guys step up as you've seen tonight. But if Levi doesn't play well, it impacts their ability to be in games in a sustained way.
So Jericho Sims going to the bench with foul number 4. Sims just 1 bucket, 0 for 2 tonight. He will need to be a factor for Texas this season. Brown tried to leave it up for Kai Jones, and it's into the hands of Freeman.
Yeah, and his point of release, Brown's, was poor, and that's an example. Maybe you get that pass off in high school, but it's not going to happen at the college level.
He's moving a little faster here. Turning the corner. Butler could not finish. To Freeman, gets Jones up in the air. No good, but a foul on Texas. Looks like that's going to be against Donovan Williams. Number 3 on Williams. 12 minutes to play in the season opener. It's all Texas. Longhorns up 62-43.
I'm David Zalman, CEO of Prosperity Bank. Whether you're looking to finance a home for your family or an office building for your business, Prosperity can handle it. Our customers know this. They rely on us to assist them with all their financial needs. We make the complicated simple. So if you're our customer, thank you. If you're not our customer, you should be. Call us or come by. See what Prosperity can do for you.
Collier does it again. What a finish.
What a play! What a play!
You step in and it's like, boom, everything's gone.
People are not used to hearing how dead sound can be. It sounds unnatural. Sound in general is something that has been with people their whole lives, and most people have not stopped to think, what is sound?
So what exactly is this room, and why does it even exist? It's called an anechoic chamber, and surprisingly, you can find them all over the world.
The University of Texas built its anechoic chamber for a variety of purposes, but really centered around testing electroacoustic devices. As you'll see, is the walls are cone-shaped, and effectively what that does is as the sound wave arrives, it bounces off of these cones, and the cones are angled such that it bounces back and forth and effectively traps the wave. So the work that we do is really focused on the reception of sound.
That allows us to get very accurate measurements for very sensitive devices and to measure energy of the source to characterize how strong it is, how directional it is. So we use sound in very, very different ways to connect with people in terms of understanding what we're trying to do.
John Thompson impacted the game of basketball, impacted the lives of his players and everyone that was around this Georgetown program in its heyday. As Thompson became the first black head coach to win men's NCAA title, 3-time National Coach of the Year, and all the great Georgetown players, Ewing, Mourning, Mutombo, Iverson. John Thompson was the coach, was the father figure to many of those players. And Shaka Smart wearing the towel on his shoulder to honor the life and the legacy of John Thompson. He was impacted, told a story about when he was at VCU. After making the Final Four run, Thompson approached him, put his arm around his shoulder and said, I hope you realize the obligation that you now have to other young black coaches. How did he impact you?
Well, I mean, he culturally, back in the 80s and early 90s, I mean, for young African-American kids, there was only one program, and that was Georgetown. To your point, all the great players that he coached. And I had the good fortune of going over to Africa on one of the Basketball Without Borders trips with Coach Raveling and Coach Thompson, two legends. And I literally saw Coach cry as we sat on the shores of Goree Island, looking at where slaves had embarked ships to come this way. And it was a very emotional trip and a very emotional experience that I had there with Coach Thompson. Just a phenomenal human being. He impacted so many lives from afar, from up close, and I'm sad to see him go, but his legacy will live on forever.
Ramey with the bucket, now has 14, out of control, and hitting the deck hard is Doc Nelson. Vaqueros lost the handle, but will stay with them. Coach Smart said, though, in his opinion, 3 smartest people, Toni Morrison, Maya Angelou, John Thompson.
Yeah, and I believe that. And I believe the reason Coach Smart said that, because all 3 of them were phenomenal communicators. And obviously Toni Morrison is a great, legendary writer. She just wrote and said so many things that were just statements that'll carry on forever. And Maya Angelou, of course, her poetry, second to none. And Coach Thompson, I mean, if you were ever around him, he always had these words of wisdom he would share with you, and things that would just stick in your head, because there were so many lessons that he would teach through language and communication.
Quentin Johnson misses the first free throw. Kai Jones now going to the bench with 4 fouls. Good news to see Roy's hand getting back out, hoping it was just cramps. Saw him getting stretched out. Now he makes his return. And a split at the line for Johnson. Coleman to Williams. Texas shooting 50% from the field. Williams off the dribble, cradles it, cannot get the roll. And here come the Vaqueros. Trying for a late run. Johnson contested. Butler for 3, got it. Laquan Butler connects from distance.
Well, he's earned his scholarship tonight. Butler has. If he can take this into conference play, this will be a huge addition for Coach Hill.
And ultimately, that's what UT Rio Grande Valley is after, building for WAC play, where they are anticipated to be one of the favorites. And a lot of belief, they feel like there's unfinished business. The way they finished the season, winning 8 of the last 10, getting the number 2 seed, and then having that abrupt end that everybody experienced. I'm sure it left a bad taste in the mouth of this Vaqueros program.
Well, yeah, I mean, Coach Hill all but said that both of these programs, Texas as well, had a similar circumstance. So both teams bringing back so many. This season is payback time.
Freeman long on the 3. It's after the missed free throw. Texas has been solid at the charity stripe. Liddell, careless turnover, and here comes Freeman. Working past Ham, and Ham recovered to get a mitt on it. Looked like he got ball, but he is called for the foul.
Yeah, Ham is notorious for leaving his feet there. And even if he didn't foul, just the appearance, that's a tough play to not make a call on, even though I do think he whacked him across the arm.
Foul number 2 on Royce Ham. Texas still in control with 10:05 left.
Wow, I wish I could get a deal on a smartphone, but I'm not a new customer.
Well, actually now new and existing customers can get our best smartphone deal. It's historic.
That is historic, which means I'm making history, right?
Yeah, I don't know if I'd exactly...
Wow, me, Dave Brown, existing customer who got the greatest deal in history.
Just like every other customer gets.
Oh, that's cool too.
It's not complicated. AT&T is making history. Everyone gets our best smartphone deals.
Give the gift of fun to everyone on your list with in-store assembly and free curbside pickup. Make this Christmas brighter together with Academy Sports and Outdoors.
Stand out from the crowd as a super fan with your new Specialty Toll Tag. Specialty Toll Tags combine the same benefits of standard toll tags with your favorite team colors. Open a new account or upgrade your current toll tag by visiting one of our locations, calling NTTA, or visiting SpecialtyTollTags.com for more info. Make other fans burn orange with envy by sporting a Texas Longhorns toll tag and scoring big toll tag savings. UT toll tags are available now for $19.99 and provide the same benefits as a standard toll tag. Open a new account or upgrade your current toll tag by visiting one of our locations, calling NTTA, or visiting SpecialtyTollTags.com.
I'm feeling good. I just thought you should know.
Here we go, three. God! He got it! Oh my goodness!
Collier does it again. What a finish!
Hook 'em horns all the live long day.
So the entire team returned for Shaka Smart, but there was some change in the coaching staff. Luke Yaklich becomes a head coach at Illinois Chicago. Jay Lucas becomes an assistant at Kentucky. So KT Turner is hired as a new associate head coach. Was an assistant at SMU under Larry Brown and Tim Jankovic. Cody Hatt replaces Jay Lucas. So some familiarity with Cody. He was a longtime special assistant, director of ops for Shaka Smart, has recruited in the past as well. But with Hatt and KT Turner picking up two quality assistants to fill those voids.
Well, yeah, it's good to see Coach Smart reward Hatton for all of his hard work. And I mean, essentially, he's Shaka's right-hand man here over the last few years, but then adding Coach Turner to the mix, and obviously knows Texas well, coming from SMU. Shaka has the ever-growing tree.
Yes, he does.
So he is sending people out to great programs as head coaches and or assistants.
And the flush.
And Lucas is going to Kentucky.
And Texas will take on the Wildcats coming up later this season. Here's Ray inside on Ham. Ham wins that matchup. Liddell with the rebound. Under 10 minutes to play. No Andrew Jones for the Longhorns. Woke up with a cough, sitting out for precautionary reasons. Can't be too careful during COVID-19. Ramey wants to roll, and after a couple of seconds, it seemed like on the back iron, gets it to fall. He's got 16.
Boy, just nice soft touch. That wasn't the greatest shot either, but the fact that he went and created offense just shows Shaka's confidence in these guards. The defense, that's almost impossible to guard.
We go back to that season-defining 5-game winning streak. He had 15 points per game, 42% from three. That's when Ramey and Andrew Jones both really started to take over for the Longhorns. Donovan Williams trying to stay with Butler. Tough shot, Brown, the freshman.
That was a nice rebound.
And Texas was not a good rebounding team last season. Actually, we're negative in rebounding margin. You would think with that length and athleticism that they had last year, that would not be the case. Is that something that can be corrected with most of the same guys coming back?
Well, that's something that will be corrected, I think, particularly if they play with the kind of pace that we're seeing tonight. They can use that length and athletic ability to track balls down, but I think we'll see different numbers across the board, Lowell, with the exception of the shooting. I mean, I think that'll be in question here early.
Because still don't know when Jace Febres is coming back. He's got to be more consistent. Andrew Jones has been a good shooter, but no more of a scorer.
And Jones is certainly, with Chase being out there, best three-point shooter, but you got to be consistent.
Have not seen Will Baker tonight for Texas. Baker started to pick it up after a sluggish start to his freshman year.
I thought Baker got caught up with the pressure, and that's just anecdotal. I haven't actually spoken to him. I watched him through the season last year, and Lowell, he was pressing. And of course, he had the breakout game.
Yeah, we were on hand for.
Yeah, the TCU
hitting everything.
Yeah, he couldn't miss a basket. And then reverted back. But I think the pressure of playing at home, and he didn't make shots early, and then felt like and looked like he was just chasing baskets.
Yeah.
After those early games where he couldn't make a three.
Got to be tough being the hometown kid. Brock Cunningham, Will Baker, and now Greg Brown, all Austin products. Brown to the bench with his fourth foul. He called for the block against Quentin Johnson. So an 18-point lead for the Longhorns. What do you see now? What do you need to see in the final 8 minutes where it looks like they've got pretty firm control of this game?
Well, yeah, I mean, there's almost no chance you're going to give this game up at this point. I want to see guys like Donovan make the right play.
Off the foot of Donovan Williams, out of bounds, under 8 left, up by 18 on the Horns.
2020 has been the year of the unthinkable, and millions of Americans are struggling to put food on the table. So Wells Fargo is helping our neighbors feed their loved ones, using some of our locations as drive-up food banks, and helping provide 50 million meals for Americans in need. The unthinkable has happened. Now it's time to rethink how to make a difference. Wells Fargo.
Now that was the perfect last bite. What made it so perfect? Let's back up. There's crispy bacon and 2 melty cheeses on top of the 2 all-beef patties. Yes. And then there's the clincher, the smooth, roasted heat of all those grilled Hatch green chilies. The new limited-time Hatch green chili bacon burger. Perfect, right down to the first bite. Good thing there's Whataburger.
Welcome to Toyotathon.
Hey.
Ready for a great deal?
You know it.
With savings on Camry, RAV4, Highlander, and more, it really is the most magical time of the year. Can you pretend you didn't see this?
But I'm seeing it.
During Toyotathon, get $1,750 customer cash, or qualified lessees can lease the sophisticated 2020 Highlander L for only $309 a month.
You never know what you'll find at Toyotathon. Come in today.
Toyota, let's go places.
This fall, where are savvy snackers and brilliant bakers finding the world's most delicious nuts, dried fruits, organic snacks, and gluten-free treats? Nuts.com, of course. There's something for everyone to love, including free shipping with your first order. Try the glazed red cherries.
Love these in my fruitcake.
Organic dried mangoes.
Best mango under the sun.
Dark chocolate-covered almonds.
Totally delish.
Or Georgia pecans.
Most tender pecans outside a farm stand in Georgia.
Stock up with free shipping for fall season family gatherings at nuts.com.
Debut of Greg Brown III. Austin Vandergrift High School. We've seen the upside, but we've also seen him being a freshman.
Yeah, and he's had some moments, as you would expect with any freshman, and he had some not so good moments. But mostly what you see is the potential. None better than this finish here at the rim. He'll have to make some adjustments as the game slows down for him, but a lot of positive low can be expected from this young man.
Mistakenly identified the last foul as his fourth. That was number 3 on Brown, as that is a Vaqueros travel call, so another turnover on UTRGV.
Yeah, and Lo, you asked me a moment ago what you can get out of the latter part of this game if you're UT. Minutes for Brown. I mean, that's critical for him. We can't forget, this is his first college game. So the more minutes you can get him, the better it'll be. It'll pay big dividends as this season moves along.
Lefty for 3. That's Matt Coleman. His second outside shot. Seems like as his career has progressed, he has developed more as a scorer, right? Came in, was no more as a pass-first guy, as Ray knocks it down. But the ability to take over as a scorer has started to emerge.
Yeah, I think Coleman's got to pick his spots, especially with a roster that is as talented as the one that Texas has. I mean, because you've got at least 3 to 4 guys on this roster that can give you 20 points on any given night. Brown, again, this is early for him in terms of his college career, but he can do it. Jones, we've seen it. Febres can get hot if he should come back, and he can do it. And Kai showing what he can do. I haven't even mentioned Sims. So there's a lot of guys that can score on this ball club. So Coleman will have to pick his spots.
Sims has been really quiet, and that's one of those moves, as it's a whistle before the shot goes up. One of those moves that has been a point of focus for Shaka Smart with Sims. They don't want him to dribble when he catches the ball that close to the bucket.
Yeah, and because he doesn't have to. I mean, he is the one guy out there that he is put together with a level of maturity that's rarely seen physically in the college game.
Now 1 for 3 at the line. And it's been an interesting career trajectory for Sims. As a freshman, saw a lot of flashes. And the coaches would tell you sophomore season, he just shows up anticipating to be the guy. But wait, Jackson Hayes is there, steals his thunder, so he almost goes into a little bit of a shell. But last year truly was a breakout year before he went down with an injury.
Yeah, and I mean, the thing about Sims that's so impressive is he's shooting 65, 66% last year is just unheard of. And those aren't just dunks.
Yeah, last season he started to show the handles a little bit more, the ability to drive to the basket when he's not starting in the paint. Free throw shooting, that's going to continually be the issue. We saw him miss both. The save, Liddell, Ramey, and a late whistle as Connor Ames comes over to make contact with Ramey. Will not matter. He is a dog.
Raines has to do a better job defensively on making sure he doesn't get that off. But Ramey did a poor job actually of finishing. He slowed down. He went off 2 feet. No, with the.
They shouldn't have been that close, man.
No, you got to go finish that. He was fortunate, and it shows his strength. But yeah, you catch that with that kind of clear lane to the basket, you certainly don't want to slow down and allow the defense to potentially make a big-time play.
19 points for Ramey. His career high is 26. Came last year against Kansas State. Pull-up chain, no good for the Biamaka. Sims inside. That's what Shaka Smart wants. First bucket for Jericho. Offensive foul on Javon Levi as Matt Coleman draws it.
Yeah, and Matt did a good job of getting in front of Levi, beating him to the spot. This is because the defense is fronting Sims with no help on the backside.
And straight up and in for Jericho Sims. Ramey pull up Jay. Sims in and out of his hands. Liddell, nice defense.
This is where Texas can be good.
Uh-oh. Yes, sir. Again, Kai Jones. Makes it look so easy. And it's not.
I really think this is where Texas can be at their best when they're out in the open floor and running, because I can't say it enough. Kai runs as well as anyone in the nation at that size. Sims is so athletic. They've really got to bring waves this season when they're running the floor.
And Jericho Sims did not block that, but certainly affected it as Doc Nelson was going baseline. Coleman pretty through the paint, holding the finish. Matty Ice. And Texas up 81-53. They've had the highlights, and most of them provided by Kai Jones. Catch radius. You talk about great receivers. They got the catch radius. You throw it anywhere close to them and they bring it down. Kai Jones has that bring down radius.
Well, he does, especially with his ability to get off the floor. Nice job, too, by Ramey and pulling off to the side and allowing that play develop. That was almost a little bit of a slow break. But see, even if you aren't throwing the ball to Kai, but he's running like that, he can serve as a bit of a decoy and force the defense to adjust or shift and create open opportunities around the floor. So not only for himself will the ability to want to run benefit him, but it'll benefit others.
And it really seems like a lot of the point we talked about earlier in the broadcast when it comes to guys like Brock Cunningham. He understands his role. He knows what he's supposed to do, what his strengths are. Doesn't seem like he tries to force too much.
No, and that's a key point. Not forcing. Not forcing activity. Just letting the game come to you naturally.
Who's impressed you the most tonight?
Oh, by far, Kai. And Kai has been special. Also, quietly, Liddell, with his confidence. I think this roster is built in a way that's likely going to be different guys on different nights, depending on who's got the hot hand and what matchups look like on the other side.
5 Texas players in double digits. They have the depth. They will need the depth with COVID-19. And a good finish inside by Jamal Gaines. But Shaka Smart, because of conversations with you, Lance, he really gives you credit, and he's not messing around. You've opened his eyes to the more of an NBA approach in terms of cutting down the amount of guys in the rotation. Now, with the nature of this game being a blowout, he's playing more guys. But from conversations we had, it really sounds like when they get into conference play or quality non-conference opponents, that rotation will be cut down, which you would like to see.
Yeah, and Coach Smart has been extremely receptive, and I've challenged him at times and vice versa. And he gave me both sides of that the other day, and talking about how I love to advise about coaching, having not been a coach.
I think you said you're the greatest coach to have never coached.
and really, Coach, speaking to Coach now, what I'm talking about as much as anything, Lo, is we're talking about leadership. And Shaka has that gift of leadership. And he's just got to be comfortable sometimes making those tough decisions that I know he's comfortable with, or more comfortable with it sometimes than others, where you're not necessarily playing 10 or 12 guys.
You can't make everybody happy.
Yeah,
but what makes
very
most people happy, the most important people happy when you're a head coach, is wins.
And you know what? You'll be in more games like this where more people will get minutes and get opportunities. So I think he'll be able to pay it back with guys.
Sims trying to take on the entire Vaqueros defense. Moments ago, we saw Javon Levi foul out, foul number 5. So his debut is done, but plenty of great things in store for Levi in this senior year. 2-time WAC Defensive Player of the Year. He will be asked to do more when it comes to not just distributing the basketball as he's done in the past, but being a scoring option, as he is the leading returning scorer, as the Vaqueros lost their top 2, combining for about 30 points per game from a season ago.
Yeah, and I'm sure Levi, he's a competitor and disappointed, but this also is a very good Texas team that, you know, you're facing right out of the gate to start your senior season. So he's got nothing to be embarrassed about, and I expect he will greatly impact the WAC conference.
Kai Jones high pointing it. Liddell can't throw it down. Jones with the block. Coleman all the way. Got it. Found an extra gear. Coleman playing with pace, and he's got 17 points.
Yeah, and that was poor perimeter defense going both ways. The difference is Texas had a window wiper in the back named Kai Jones, who was able to keep that layup from happening.
Butler, deep 3, plenty of time on the shot clock. That will be Texas basketball. Lead has ballooned to 30. And the season debut for Shaka Smart and his Texas Longhorns.
College basketball on Longhorn Network is presented by Coors Light. Made to chill. 21 means 21.
Hey, listen up. You see this house? This is Earl's house. This is Ricky's house. This is Colt McCoy and Vince Young's house. This is our house. That other team, not their house. This is the best house. The best is here. Let's bring down the house.
Your holidays get all 2020 on you, Antone's will be there. Happy holidays from Antone's.
Collier does it again. What a finish.
What a play! What a play!
Lance, look who is back at the Irwin Center. Cam Ridley, the gentle giant, former Texas center, his senior season, Shaka's first season here with the Texas Longhorns. Played for a little while in Japan, Connor Lambert. And it's good to see Big Cam back in the Irwin Center.
And I thought, you talk about Shaka teams, I thought his injury.
Yeah, the broken foot.
Yeah, I thought that's what impacted the success of that ball club, because they were really finding a rhythm for the first time that season. And then he had the injury, which impacted the rest of the year.
That was a really good roster. Isaiah Taylor, Javon Felix, excuse me. DeMarcus Holland really came into his own senior season. Here's Donovan Williams. And Miles Turner was in the building. Is that correct? You spotted Miles?
Well, I could have sworn I did. I know you didn't necessarily trust it. But
there it is.
Yeah, I mean, that looks like him to me.
Big time. Miles Turner, star for the Indiana Pacers. He's had a really good start to his NBA career.
Yes, he has. I think he exceeded a lot of the expectations.
Really good recent history of first-round picks. And the most recent, Turner, Allen, Bamba, and Hayes. All those guys with immense upside.
Yeah,
Jared Allen has also kind of been one of those guys that has overcame some expectations in the league.
Yeah, and that it's one thing to have the expectations. It's another thing to live up to them or even exceed them. And I think Jared Allen is potentially on pace to be another breakout player in the NBA. I mean, he's on the team now with a lot of stars, and Kevin Durant, Kyrie Irving.
He always blew me away with how nimble he was for his size. The way he could tiptoe the baseline under the basket, not many dudes of that size can do. You want to talk about playing with violence. He attacks the rim with violence.
Yeah, and an extremely smart basketball player as well.
Butler was trying to draw a foul on Williams. Cannot get the whistle. 2 minutes left to play in the season opener. Next up for the Longhorns, they'll take off to Asheville, North Carolina, for what was supposed to be the real Maui Invitational. COVID-19 obviously rearranging those plans. Greg Brown, a double-double in his debut.
Not bad.
Not bad at all. Jared Allen, the last freshman to have a double-double in his debut. So that's some good company to be in.
Yeah, and I like the fact that he gets a double-double, and now he's going to have to raise the level as he gets into stiffer competition when they go to Asheville.
So Connor Raines fouls out. Gritty player for the Vaqueros, finds himself in the middle of everything, as Brown cannot get that roll. And here is the bracket. So Texas taking on Davidson. First round matchup on Monday. See that on ESPN2, bright and early, 11 a.m. Central Time. And the opportunity to take on Indiana or Providence.
Is that an upset potentially waiting to happen? Davidson, it's going to be a little bit like a home game, huh?
So you're saying Davidson will beat Texas?
I'm asking if it could be. I mean, a little Chaminade in Hawaii is
so
done.
Davidson takes on the role now that it's in Asheville, huh?
Of course.
I'm following you. Steph Curry is no longer there, correct?
No. No.
Sims fighting for position inside. All right, coming up on the final minute here. What did you like the most? What would you have liked to see be a little different, a little cleaner?
Well, you have some really good and tough questions. I think what you got to like Kai. I mean, that was pretty impressive out of the gate. And so Coach Smart, you know, with that top 5, 6, 7, you might have 2 of that 7 that are disappointed or feel like they should be starting. So Coach Smart will have to figure that out. And I would have liked to seen Sims get a little more involved. I mean,
Is that on him? Is that on the way the offense flowed?
I think it's a little bit of both. I think it's both, but he's not going to want to level off from what he did last season. You know, and he finished with an injury, so he's going to have to figure out, to Shaka's point, of how much more violently he needs to play. And also he has a very quiet demeanor and personality, which I think impacts him getting the ball. But he's also got to get a little help from his point guard.
Well, did have 10 rebounds, and it looks like Texas offensively, especially when Andrew Jones is back, could be in the position where he doesn't have to do as much scoring. If he can rebound and block shots, get the timely bucket as well, maybe good enough. Kai Jones certainly one of the stars, as Jones went off for 14 points, perfect 6 of 6 from the field. Everything was right around the bucket. Ramey led all with 20 points, 7 of 11 from the field. And Donovan Williams, for having a knee that may not be 100%, has also flashed in this opener.
Oh, yeah, and he's a difficult guard for anyone to guard because of his length and ability to shoot over the top. Going to be about minute availability for Donovan, and him maximizing the minutes that he does get. He's got to put pressure on the coaching staff to keep him on the floor by how well he plays when he does get minutes. Considering the past history with Texas in these early season non-conference games, even at home, this is a statement for the Longhorns. They take down UT